This video is sponsored by Nikkei, and we're working with them this month to let you all know about the hottest cross.
Oh my god, this video came out last month. So tell me, how many people signed up to this just to watch Makima's derriere? Ladies and gentlemen, a few weeks ago, we checked out a video by Gigguk on one of the isekais of all time, of a poor man who isekai'd himself into the life of a dog, which, under normal circumstances, is not the worst thing, you know. Being a puppy, you're well taken care of, and you're fed, and you're played with, everything is nice. Except, of course, if your owner is a total psycho. But speaking of psychos, today we'll be checking out one of the best isekais. Forget what the title says, okay? This show is not bad. And I'm saying that as somebody who has gone through some isekais before. I'm talking about stuff like Riddle of Healer, the smartphone isekai, Another World, My Smartphone, I think it was called. The mom isekai with that bitch of a son. And also stuff like Conception. That show was just unnecessarily horny. The Imminence in Shadows is not a bad show. No. This is fucking goofy. It's the type of show that will ramp up the cringe to an exponential of 11, and then you'll cringe no more, because it goes full circle to becoming awesome. But I'm very interested in what Gigguk has to say about this.
Blah blah, Gigguk likes isekai.
I am shocked.
I want you to cast your mind back for a bit. No, wait, too far. It's summer holiday in 8th grade and you've just discovered anime. Mirai Nikki is close to peak. Akame ga Kill was the most tragic thing you'd ever seen. That scene where Kirito gets his
no. If you discovered anime in 8th grade during the time of Akame ga Kill, that would put it in 2014, so okay, fine, that's granted. But, dude, try growing up and watching 1980s anime. I'm thinking about shows like The Space Adventures of Cobra, City Hunter, Arcadia by Youth, Cat's Eyes. I'm referring to shows where the protagonists were characterized as getting bitches, and also were pretty tragic. Mezen Ikaku. Oh my god, that may actually be one of my worst nightmares. A guy who gets his degrees but finds himself unable to get a job and has to live with a bunch of degenerates for the rest of his life. All the while, the MILF that he's thirsting for never acknowledges him. It's not a personal story. That one shocked me as a kid and I never wanted to have that life. Really tragic.
That scene where Kirito gets his second sword and shouts out, "Starburst or Streamer!" was the goddamn coolest thing you'd ever seen, because of course it was. You were 13. Everything was cool. You didn't care about character development. You didn't think about story structure. You heard a quote like, "I'm a gamer. Not because I don't have a life."
Oh, the cringe.
But because I
choose
to have many. And you thought to yourself, damn, that's deep. I'm a gamer. Were you cringe? Hell yeah you were, but you know what? You enjoyed yourself, and that's what's important, even if you can look back and think, God, what was I thinking? But what happens when you find a show that stops trying to run away from that cringe? It embraces the cringe, distills the cringe, knuckles down and envelops you in the edge-fest, high-intensity, full-blown world of cringe you thought you'd grown past and refuses to apologize about it.
I need more
power.
You get the Eminence in Shadow. Anime has been absolutely killing it lately. 2022 was not only full of surprises, but shows that push the boundary of anime. Modern classics that stamps their mark on the scene and will stick with us for years to come. Eminence in Shadow is not one of those shows. This is...
Hold on. I gotta call him on this one. Because this show has enough one-liners to make it for an entire lifetime. The man who solved so many kidnappings that he could have taken down Jeffrey Epstein Incorporated by his lonesome, all the while naming himself freaking insane names like, what was it, Stylish Ruffian Slayer? There's no way that this show doesn't stay memorable.
Every 14-year-old teenage angsty fantasy turned up to 11. It's edgy, it's horny. It might well just be the new king of trashy isekai, and it's by far the most goddamn fun I've had in the genre for years. ReZero, Slime, Mushoku Tensei, all brilliant shows we've gotten in the past few years that absorb you into that intricate world and have shown us how truly great isekai can be. If these three shows are the 3-star Michelin meals of isekai, this is Eminence in Shadow. And this is me.
It's hilarious because fast food actually plays a big role into the show.
But how did Eminence and Shadow get me to embrace the cringe? Gigguk, do you fantasize about getting hit by a truck? Is this another case of me having isekai brain rot? No, okay, I haven't forgotten what good anime is. I still remember my best of 2022 anime list. I still remember Chainsaw Man. Speaking of which, Chainsaw Man itself is having a collaboration with today's sponsor, Nikkei.
Cool.
Yo!
That's right, this video is sponsored by Nikkei, and we're working with them this month to let you all know about the hottest cross.
Oh my god, this video came out last month. So tell me, how many people signed up to this just to watch Makima's derriere?
Over this year as Nikkei and Chainsaw Man are working together for the first time. That's right, Chainsaw Man's most popular female characters are joining the Nikkei roster. Nikkei is an immersive sci-fi RPG featuring casual arcade shooter.
They put on the coat. They put on the coat. Oh.
Gameplay, and you can now recruit Power, Himeno, and most importantly, Makima to join your ultimate gun-wielding waifu team. The girls in Tokyo Division 4 have been seen in Nikkei's world through the Gatekeeper's dreams, which is very fitting, as Makima has crept into my dreams more than just a few times these last few months. Nikkei has given Makima, Power, and Himeno their own newly designed unique weapons that are different from the anime itself. Not only that, but during battle you'll be able to witness their elaborate skill cuts closely duplicated from Chainsaw Man, to a level never before seen in the game prior to this collaboration. That's not all though, as Nikkei itself now has a PC version available so you can play on a larger screen for more immersive gameplay, as well as new adapted controls for a more traditional mouse and keyboard shooting experience. Of course, there's cross-platform support between PC and mobile for access to convenient idle gameplay, freeing up your phone to scroll through pictures of Makima while you play Nikkei. So, what are you waiting for? Head to the link in the description to download the game today to experience the Nikkei and Chainsaw Man collaboration in all its glory. Thank you to Nikkei for sponsoring me today, and back to the video. I know what you're thinking, but look, it's been one whole year since my last Isekai video on this channel, and the tax has to be paid. White girls have true crime, Gigguk has bullshit Isekai. But contrary to popular belief, I don't just blindly recommend every trashy Isekai that airs every season. And before you go, no, that's cap. This is my face when I'm saying it. Look at this serious face. Do you see how deathly serious I am taking this?
That's cap. Literally.
Would never mislead you on something like this. This is a show that won't go down as a classic of anime. It doesn't have a lot in common with the isekai greats like Mushoku Tensei. Eminence and Shadow is edgy, self-serving. You see what happens in it and it's like... Well, see, Mushoku Tensei is more like... The plot goes like this. Sid Kagano is a man obsessed with... But unfortunately, he gets hit by a truck and dies. Reborn in a fantasy world, he continues his pursuit of power. A secret organization, Shadow and so begins the story. I give up. The big issue I've had when trying to talk about the show to anyone is that as soon as I open my mouth to explain anything that happens, I instantly lose anyone listening because everything that comes out of my mouth sounds fucking stupid. Because it is fucking stupid. The main...
It's true. It's true.
The point of this show is that Sid makes up the most dumb, convoluted, fanfiction.net, Tumblr-ass plot developments he can think up on the spot, and it turns out to be true. The man has no investment in the people around him and what's going on. He's just role-playing his perfect isekai power fantasy story, and everyone in the world is forced to dance to his tune. On one side, he's Shadow, incarnation of vengeance, entity of the night, slayer of pussy. The man fucks without losing his virginity because he never loses.
This man has riz. Insane amounts of riz.
Shadow is a man who based their entire personality over listening to My Chemical Romance once. This is what people who shopped at Hot Topics saw in their mind's eye. Shadow is the type of guy who would say,
"You know why they call it the Dead Sea?
Why?
'Cause I killed it."
But on the flip,
he's the kind of guy who, which actually fits with the plot, would similarly to Dio, move a dude down the flight of stairs and be like, I'm waiting while he just keeps on trying to climb them.
Side, he's plain old Sid Kagano, a guy devoted to being an invisible background character who won't stand out, won't attract attention, chasing his dream to be the ultimate real-life NPC, which...
Hey guys, I'm in New York City just hanging out.
Honestly, isn't that hard to do nowadays? The thing is, he will refuse to break character no matter what. And I really mean, no matter what. His sister gets kidnapped and tortured. His school is the target of a terrorist attack. There are classmates getting murdered around him left and right. And the first thing that goes through his mind is, alright boys, it's NPC time. How can I give myself the most pathetic death possible? As Shadow, he will literally commit to robbing a grand piano only to transport it to an underground cave so he can ominously play it with the lights beaming down for the ultimate edgelord look. The man is more dedicated.
Yo, even as Shadow, he does the same thing. He's dedicated to his goddamn cosplay. Like I joked about that before in the beginning with the whole solving kidnappings, right? He keeps on doing that, all the while fighting against organizations that are in the shadows and refuses to acknowledge that they actually play a significant role in his world.
Dedicated to his role than Jake Paul is to playing an asshole. He could give Daniel Day-Lewis a run for his money in his commitment to method acting. Oh, okay, so this is like a parody of Isekai? Kinda. Comedy is subjective. Is a phrase people use when they're about to say they don't find something funny. Eminence in Shadow has some decent jokes here and there, though it can be hit or miss. Sometimes it'll do this thing where it will spell out this overused trope and pass it off as a joke, which is something I've always despised, but sometimes it can play around with our expectations in amusing ways. We've all watched that scene where the main character accidentally goes in the hot spring, sees the girl, she goes,
Right.
hentai, gets angry, blah blah blah. Alright, here's what happens with Sid. Barges into hot spring. It's the girl's hot spring. Doesn't acknowledge the girl, flexes his pee-pee, refuses to elaborate further, leaves. This is
Sigma
a show
male.
that is not afraid to play around with tropes we're familiar with and subvert our expectations to varying degrees of success. But what I found more impressive, and a hell of a lot more amusing, is how hard it commits to its own bullshit act. It makes fun of itself while doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling the fuck down on all the cheesy, cringe-ass moments we roll our eyes at in your typical trashy power fantasy isekai.
Bruh, this episode was hella funny. It literally turned into a slapstick cartoon. It was so much fun. Sneeze to defeat the enemy? Check. Pretending to be Goku and flex the insane amount of weight that your clothes have? Check. And the over-analysis of every small, insignificant details.
Beyond being a straight-up parody, it's just entirely self-aware. You find yourself not taking the show too seriously, then end up being completely invested in all the dumb shit that ends up happening. They say that love and hate are two halves of the same coin, but Eminence in Shadow proves that the exact same thing is true with cringe and cool. Because what happens when you take all those cringe scenes that would only appeal to an edgy 13-year-old, distill it, rev up the stupidity to 100, does it somehow become cool again? This is what Eminence in Shadow asks, and I think there's one scene that encapsulates everything this show is about. So if you don't want to be spoiled for episode 5, just skip ahead. Sid has always been obsessed with becoming powerful. In his past life, he was already pretty OP. The man dedicated himself to being Batman without all the fancy gadgets. He had trained enough to take down any thug he encountered.
Yeah.
But so what? No matter how much a mortal can train, there are still limits to what you can achieve. What if he went up against a firing squad? What if someone dropped a nuclear bomb on you? No matter how much you develop your muscles, hone your mind, perfected your skills, if someone comes along with a nuclear bomb, you'd be instantly vaporized.
Except...
So he thought. Because, reincarnated in a new world, he refused to give up on his dream. There was still a height he had yet to attain. So, after years upon years of training, he arrived at but a single solution. That's right. If I don't want to be vaporized by a nuclear explosion, I must simply become the nuke.
I am atomic.
It's so dumb, but so cool.
What the fuck did I just watch? What is this?
It's like a good reminder of those time where the folks at Studio Pierrot used to be fed, you know, so to make those nuclear 10 shows from Bleach. But this time around, he does that like on multiple occasions.
Why did he say atomic in Times New Roman? Why is this so entertaining? This doesn't try to differentiate itself from a typical power fantasy isekai. This fully commits to being the power fantasy isekai, then goes 10 steps further beyond what is necessary. He is stupidly OP. He's never in any real danger. He'll say cringe lines and pass them off as the coolest thing ever said. You think other isekai protagonists specialize in having their own harem? Well, not only does every influential figure happen to be a cute girl who of course ends up falling for him, but he's goddamn built an entire shadow organization with 0 boys allowed. Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon.
Yo, the Bayonetta cat girl mommy. The description is accurate, okay? It truly is. With abs.
Ada, Zeta, Sigma. The man's created his own harem institute of hundreds, not dozens, hundreds of superpowered waifus that end up amassing so much wealth and power that they end up influencing the world stage. And he did this by complete accident. But the best part of all this is having to see everyone in the world take Sid's bullshit role-playing 100% seriously. This is a fully functioning fantasy land with nations vying for power, secret organizations manipulating the global politics. Characters are in a life or death struggle to defend the homeland they so love, and then along comes this dude. Countries pour their resources into figuring out what exactly is Shadow Garden, who's in it, what do they want, what are their goals and motivations, how does their presence affect the world, and meanwhile Sid's just there like, hehe, Shadow Man say power. Everyone is playing Game of Thrones while Sid is playing Dungeons and Dragons, except he is every dungeon master's worst nightmare. Someone who just makes shit up as he goes along, breaks every rule of the game, ignores the big shiny thing that is shouting, this is the plot, but is incapable of rolling anything but nat 20. And so everything he ends up doing has real consequences to the world around him. A lot of people have compared this to Overlords, but I think this is actually closer to Isekai One Punch Man, and I'm gonna be honest, part of the reason I'm making this video is because I'm praying that this doesn't stop at just 2 seasons. Yeah, I'm excited to get more of the Isekai greats, but for the love of God, give me 5 more double Big Mac meals of this, please. Eminence in Shadow is a series that should not work, but somehow it does. This is what happens when every single person working on an anime absolutely understands the assignment. It's a series which gives absolutely zero fucks in being cringy, edgy, or childish. Sid is a man who laughed so hard it became reality, but the more you watch, the more you get sold in his bullshit. It throws at you every trope, every cliche, every eye-rolling corny line you've ever heard in your life, and you end up eating that shit up like it's the first time you've ever seen an anime. This is what happens when you reach the peak of trashy, entertaining isekai, and I don't know what more it can do to reach even greater heights.
I don't want to be the last boss. I want to be the one in the story who operates from the shadows. The Eminence in Shadow.
Okay, now
Wow.
it's perfect. Hey guys. What the fuck was that? Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much this month to Alpha Sigma, Author Curtis Eckstein, Basil, Dysfunctional Degenerate.
The absolute best patron to have.
Yes guys, it had to happen, okay? You knew I needed to pay the yearly isekai tax. And you know what more perfect season to catch up with all the isekai than this winter season? Which, I gotta be honest, is a little bit slower than fall, but hey, I'm not complaining. At least I get to catch up with all the anime that I wanted to. If you ask me why I didn't watch Fullmetal Alchemist, I'm banning you from the channel. Anyway though,
Wait a minute, he hasn't watched Fullmetal? Dude, that's one sin that counts as 7 unto God. Anyways, guys, this show is pretty good. I highly recommend that you watch it if you just want to have a lot of haha moments. Now, I don't know where else to get access to it other than Disney Plus, because I stumbled on that in the same way that I was searching for summertime rendering exclusive on Disney Plus. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for checking this video out. And as always, if you liked it, give the video a like, and please do go and subscribe to Gigguk. And that said, we wish you all to have a wonderful day. See you guys in the next one. Bye.